this next speaker, he was basically born in the industry. I would say at least 30 years. He's pulled wire, he's programmed controllers, he's probably lit some stuff on fire by accident, but ultimately he took over, the company he worked for, the contractor, became a manufacturer, believe it or not. Isn't that crazy? And then they became a world-class manufacturer, and he went over and grew Europe for them like crazy, and APAC, and then his little company, they get bought by this big, huge company, and what do they drag him back, and they make him in charge of the whole company. And I'm so happy to have him on stage as both a colleague and a friend, and somebody who I feel like is on a very similar journey as I am in trying to help this industry. And of course, this company, they use AI already. They used AI to develop the products they're showing here, which is really cool. And they continue to innovate in great ways because they really focus on what the customers are looking for. So I'd like to invite up Martin Villeneuve from Distech Controls. Martin, come on up, buddy.
Thank you, Scott. Thank you, Scott.
That's your clicker.
Working. Clicker. Good morning, everyone. So I feel a little bit, the energy is a little bit down after hearing everything about the cybersecurity this morning. So I'm going to try to cheer you up. Who's a Have fan in the room? Yeah, not. We have long there. AVS, the Avalanche. So yesterday I was at a game. I was so proud for the Avs because if you don't know, the Avalanche, before being the Avalanche, they were the Nordiques of Quebec, which were my team when I grew up. So I was so proud to see them win finally at the end. So it was one of the best games I went to in my life. So if you miss it, just go to the replay. It's worth it. So yes. What I want to talk to you about is that you don't know a person before you know the story of the person. So I want to explain to you a little bit the story of Distech. So Distech, as Scott just mentioned, we started as a system integrator back in the days in Quebec, in Canada, in 1995, and we found that the product that we were using was not good enough for our customers. So there's a lot of incentive in where we live in order to do research and development. So we did research and development on the first LawnWorks controller open technology. And then we went on a journey of being a manufacturer. So we sold our construction business back in 2000, and then we invest tremendously into engineering, software development, hardware development, and business development around the world to continue the development of BACnet controller MSTP. This is where we launched the GFX graphical interface. Then we did expansion in Europe in 2010, which I had the pleasure to go and move there with my wife and kids and the container to live in France and to travel European countries for 8 years. Then we found a need in Europe that was IP technology. But IP technology, there was already existing IP technology in the market, but not at scale and not really transforming the BMS industry that was really two-wired technology. So I'm proud to say that Distech have been the pioneer into making IP the de facto standard now in BMS industry. We continue on our journey. 2020, we released the first AI-enabled BMS controller with an AI coprocessor with Docker container in which you can use AI at the edge. And we use one of the application of that in our own recent move, which is a people counting thermal sensor that count the people. It's a big need in Europe and in Asia because they want to count the number of people to understand if they really need this amount of buildings and then bring the amount of fresh air and do a whole lot of application with counting the number of people. Then, as if it was not enough, and there's one thing that doesn't show in that slide, 2017 we acquired DG Logic. So that's why we have a lot of embedded software and embedded visualization on all our controllers, from VAV, fan coil, all the way up to chiller plants and big controllers. Yes, and in 2023, we acquired Key2Term in order to be really present into the multi-site retail groceries to control refrigeration. Super good technology. And the common theme is IP technology all the way. And one of the other common theme is that the little graphic that you see in 2008 is graphical programming, the GFX. This is something that we're super proud because it's spanning across all the lines from lawn works that are a pretty old controller now that we still maintain to IP controls. The same sequence of operation that you like, that you want to control something, can be applicable to all the line. Scott mentioned a little bit about me. There's not only me in Distech, there's over 600 employees around the world that are committed, and I always call them A players. It's super hard to hire A players because they challenge you a lot. So you go to the office every morning and you don't feel the king at all because you feel that they're all the king in their own arena of understanding. But my story, as you said in Quebec, I had to choose when I went into engineering school, hey, am I a business guy or am I an engineer? And I was at the kitchen with my mom when I was young, and I said, Mom, I need to understand how things works in life before going in business. I cannot manage a business if I'm in front of the building, and I don't have a clue how this skyscraper of 100 floors are working, how when you open the faucet and there's hot water at the top floor, how the heating and cooling is working, how the electricity is distributed inside of this. So I said, once I'm gonna feel I understand a part of it, then I will go in business. And these meetings like this always revive the fire in me into understanding all the technical aspect of our business. And another thing is when I'm interviewed in Quebec and they ask me, hey, why, Martin, 99.5% of your revenue is outside of Quebec? And why do you keep your engineering here? And the answer to that, I had to think. And I found the answer only a couple years ago. Because where we live, we span the temperature, the outside temperature, from minus 40 to 100 or sometimes 110 in the summer. So building needs to switch pretty rapidly from one stage to another. And then another one, why we expanded on a global way, is that we're not only bilingual, and I don't mean I speak English properly, I speak better French, but we're bilingual into understanding the mechanics and the systems of measurement. So we talk, I know that I'm 5'8", 100 and whatever pound, I'm not gonna tell you. But I know also my height in centimeters and in kilograms. So, and it's the common thing for people that lives in Canada to understand both system of measurement, which is a tremendous help when you're trying to expand internationally. So that's a little bit about me. Don't want to continue too much on this. So on this text, so for you to understand where you're going to see us at the booth, product lines range from software, why we had to do go in software. Scott mentioned it, cybersecurity, updating of all the device, the firmware, the code, the rotating the certificate of the certificate. A lot you can do in Niagara, but at scale, when you have 10,000 devices on a building and you have only 100 JACE or EC BOSS, you need the manufacturer to be able to guarantee that those devices are cyber secure, hence we need a cloud software to manage it. So that's why we went on a full journey of developing facilities together as well with the integration with Niagara. Eclipse line spanned from every type of controller in a building, and I'm going to show what we can do there. Resense interface, room interface, humidity sensor, remote control, wireless, Bluetooth, and Ocean. We have the full span of it. And finally, Key2Term into refrigeration, which, by the way, you go to any Walmart in North America, it's all equipped with Key2Term. Now, I want to ask you, do you recognize some of the name here on the screen? a couple. What happened to them? Acquired, disappeared. Is it fair to say that unfortunately those were my company that I was looking at when I was young? You know, oh, I want to be them when I was young. When I will be a grown-up business. Unfortunately, a lot disappeared, were underfunded, regionalized, the partners struggle. This is really what I did not want to happen with Distech. I wanted a system integrator who founded his business based on a product line, not to find his product line not available or merge within another company and not invested in after. So this is really what is making the difference at Distech, is that we really want to be a top-tier business in the market. And those projects are, I can put 100 slides of project like this, but those are just examples of what you can do with the product that we provided to you. So a lot of time there was a differentiation between the tier 2 manufacturer that were allowed to do some certain project, but hey, don't touch the healthcare, don't touch the airport, don't touch the military base, and so on and so on. With Distech, I'm telling you, you can touch every project you want to touch, from the boiler room in an hotel of a single controller. But if you want to go to the sky and you want to go into the highest, into the biggest project, into the most prestigious project in the market, you can. And you don't have to be shy of, oh, this job is for the big guys. No, you can be the big guys. Unique advantage for you, system integrator, it's really the open technology. And open technology is a word that everybody are going to say, but the rubber meets the road when you need to put a completely different other head-end on a BMS system. If this still works, and believe me, when we sell a project in UK, in Holland, in Australia, in Singapore, not all of them are using Niagara, and Niagara is a smaller percentage in those countries, and they're using some PLC supervision software, and they ask you to communicate with BACnet driver and QTT, and this is what I love. When we get a call, the team in engineering, they are, tell me what's the bug, and most of the time, it's not on our end, so we have nothing to fix. So they are eager to go and find out if there's something not working with our stuff. So all the tests of cybersecurity with the big companies, the Google and the AWS of this world, we love to do it. And for end user is open channel. You're not locked with a single branch office that is charging overprice for their for the service work. So those are super great and real value that we provide to our customers. So now, what's next? So everything that you saw, everything that I've explained are already released product, and some of them for a number of years. So what we're going next is to simplification. So the world is getting to be more complicated as we go on, and we want to simplify the tools, the deployment tools, so you require less human intervention to do so. We want to make sure the retrofit are easier as well. So T1L is a technology that we are going to release in June, and a lot of our controllers are going to support that. So for a retrofit perspective, that's going to be done. Data centers, we talked about it. Because of the high level of technology in Distech product, we were called to be on project of data center very early into the story of the data center. Our customers are achieving data centers with our product for the last 10 years at least. And I would say about 20 to 30% of our revenue are going into data centers as well. So the fact that we were IP-based, MQTT, REST API, and now the different protocols that are required into the data centers, such as Spark-Plug-B and Redfish, which are not known into the BMS industry, Distech is going to provide it natively very, very soon in the product range. Next generation controls, next generation sensors. So for some of our competitors, it's always having to catch up. Please copy what we have now, because it's going to change soon. and cloud and software platform powered by AI. So, like I said, we were the first one to release an AI processor inside of our controller in 2020. So it means that by 2016, 2017, it started to be ideas in our engineering team. Now, a little bit like Jim have mentioned, we're switching all our process into our engineering and our entire company to use AI first. So our 600-ish employees are going to be magnified by the power of AI, and then we're going to be even able to conquer the world from a BMS perspective even more. What I'm going to ask you at the end is start to think about it. What is the best BMS application that you would like to see coming from a BMS suppliers like us? So what is the AI feature set that you already try to use with your best LLM that you say, oh, if only this was coming by default into the system, what would it be? So I'm going to have a QR code later on. And the slide before last, Stronger Together, as Scott mentioned, we were acquired in 2015 by Acuity Brands. Acuity Brands is the #1 lighting company in the world. About 40% market share into any commercial lights in North America. And the head end of the lighting controls of Acuity, based on Enlight technology, is a Distech controller, and it has been for the last 11 years. So most of the project that you go on, probably 4 projects on 10, have a Distech controller on to manage the lights. Then recently we have acquired QSC. Anybody knows QSC in the room? It's a big AV company for video conferencing. So one way to understand them is every sound or every image that you see outside of your home and cars can be provided by QSC. It's like a Crestron plus. And together, why it's so important, it's first, we have the size and the recognition with Acuity Brands. Then, with the association between Distech, Atrius, and QSC, we are really an assembly of businesses that are technology first. Technology first, cloud first, AI first. So, as opposed to other companies that are a little bit more on the mechanical side of the business and less on the technology side of the business, only great things are gonna continue to come from your provider, Distech. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Pleasure.
That was awesome. Martin has such a way of, he's so likable, I tell you. But I just got to say, with Distech, we Cochrane Supply, we've had a great relationship with them. And Martin has really helped us succeed as a company in a lot of different ways, and we really appreciate him. And so good stuff.